Back in 2018, I had the idea to create my own blog. I wanted to create a website that would basically host all of my creative work, my photos, my videos, and my writing, all in one place that I could use as a kind of creative portfolio. Now, when I had this idea, I spent an enormous amount of time thinking about what this website was going to look like, what the domain name was going to be, what the branding and the color palette was going to look like, what the logo was going to be, what the bio was going to say, all the buttons that are going to be on the website. I spent a bunch of time thinking about all this stuff. The problem was I was neglecting doing the real work of actually creating stuff for the website. In a sense, I was focused on the outer shell of the project, but not actually the meat of it. Fast forward a few years later, in about 2020, when I really got the idea for this YouTube channel, I spent a bunch of time, again, thinking about the veneer of the channel, the channel banner, the channel name, what the style of videos is going to be, the thumbnail, and all this stuff. I was, stuck in the planning mode, stuck in thinking about and editing the channel banner, editing my profile picture before I even uploaded a single video. Now, the reason I'm telling you these stories is because now, about 5 years later, I've come to name this specific kind of thinking. And I call it the amateur creator mindset. The amateur creator focuses on the veneer of their work, the veneer of their business. This is all the fun stuff, the fun and easy stuff to work on, the low-risk stuff, the things that I just described, working on your website, working on your channel art, working on your business card, doing all this seemingly productive stuff as a way to procrastinate the real work that you should be doing, which is actually focusing on mastering your craft, publishing your work, getting feedback on it, and then iterating based on that feedback. And that leads me to the professional creator mindset. The professional creator has 3 qualities that I'd like to share with you today. And these 3 qualities, I would argue, differentiate the amateur from the professional creator. And if you apply these 3 mindsets, these 3 behaviors into your work, you will see much faster progress with the work that you're doing, and you will start to develop as an artist or creator or entrepreneur much faster. I wish someone told this stuff to me sooner. I wish someone just woke me up from the daze and told me that it's time to shift into the professional mindset. So that's why I'm making this video. I want you to shift into this mindset as soon as possible. So here are the 3 qualities. Number 1 is you show up daily. You show up like it matters with your work. You treat your creative work, your art, your business, as a real job. Not as a hobby, not as something you do just on the side. You treat it like a real job, because if you intend to do this thing for long term, if you intend to make this your full-time job at some point, then you need to start treating it that way. And furthermore, no one's going to take your work seriously before you do. And the best way to take your work seriously is to show up no matter what. Show up even if you feel tired. Show up even if you're a bit frustrated, in some other area of your life. You show up anyway, and you do the work. That's the professional attitude. The second piece to this is to ship your work consistently. Put it out into the world. Share it with others, even when it doesn't feel perfect. Now, the psychology and the reason behind doing this is, number one, this will help you shift into a creator sort of mindset. You'll start to identify more as a creator when you start putting your work out there. That's number one. But number two is you start to get feedback on your work. People will give you feedback, right? You might get comments saying this is what they like about your work, this is what they don't like about your work. Or maybe you don't get any feedback at all. And of course, that's also a form of feedback. If you don't get any feedback, if you get crickets when you put your work out there, then that's probably a sign that you may want to do something differently with your work. But the point is, you're not going to get very far with your work if you don't consistently publish. And finally, the third point is to have the long-term vision of getting paid to do your art, getting paid to use your creative faculty. That should be your long-term vision. And this is something that some artists and some creators feel a little bit of shame around. They don't want to ask for money when it comes to their work. They don't want to mix money into what they're doing. They just want to create for the sake of creating. And although that, in a certain sense is very noble, you're kind of creating just for the sake of creating, that's awesome. But the reality is, and the reason why I include this part in the professional's mindset, is that if you want to really live a creative life, a big piece of the puzzle is figuring out how you can sustain yourself with it so that you can do more of it. So that's the professional creator's mindset in a nutshell. And I encourage you to take on this attitude, try it out, and see how it transforms how you approach your work. I think you'll find that when you finally make this switch to becoming a professional creator, take on this identity, and you start treating your work like a professional, you're going to find that the journey becomes much more fulfilling and exciting for you. And you start to carry yourself differently. You start to have a different kind of confidence when it comes to what you do. Become a pro and get started now. That's all for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you in the next one. Take care. Sending love from a Finnish forest.